Hey guys, today we're going to talk about how to stop playing games in dating. No more mind games, no more texting games, no more who likes who more, should I act this way, should I show this much interest, blah, blah, blah. No more of these games. And I'm going to show you how to do it, right? It's very simple. Okay, so first you have to perfectly understand how you are feeling at all times and what you're thinking at all times very clearly, right? No self-deception, no misunderstandings about how you're actually feeling about a person. You know you like her this much, you know you want this from her, you know what you want about dating in general, right? Very clearly. Secondly, you have to perfectly communicate how you're feeling and what you want and your thoughts about her and what you want from her in your language, in plain, clear, understandable English. And also, besides the perfect emotional understanding and self-awareness and perfect communication, the third aspect is she needs to also have a perfect ability to not misconstrue your words, misunderstand, what a person is intending to do, and have perfect clarity also about what she wants. Actually, it's a fourth thing. If you do that, there will be no more mind games in dating, no more guessing games, nothing. Everything will just be perfectly abundantly clear, and there will be no mystery and no uncertainty. Now, clearly that is fucking impossible, okay? And fucking ridiculous for you to even think that was even possible, to even for a moment bemoan the cruel universe that, oh my god, why don't girls just stop playing games? Why don't, or girls saying, why don't men stop playing games? Why can't we just, say what we want and just be honest with each other and be transparent, right? I mean, dude, you could show up on a date and you could just say to the fucking person, hello, my name is Hector. I have X amount of interest, as if there's some sort of quantifier of how much interest you have for a person. And I'm going to show Y amount of interest over this period of time, depending on your choices with me. And I'm going to text you every 2.5 days to check up how are you. And then we're going to have a date every third. Fucking, dude, right? That's impossible. First of all, what would that end up communicating, right? To you, that's perfect communication, very clear. But to the other person, they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because clearly, on paper, sounds great. In practice, not very fucking much. Because actually, deep down, a person who's communicating like that doesn't have communication skills. Because a person who does have communication skills understands that there will never be a situation where a person perfectly understands what they want and how they feel. We're always figuring out how we want and what we want and how we feel. She's figuring everything you say and do and every face you make and every different change of vocal tonality. She's paying attention. Oh, does he like me? Does he not like me? Do I like him? Do I not like him? And you're also doing the same fucking thing. Unless you are in a situation where you're just like, I love you so much. Everything about you, I 100% want. And yeah. But a person who thinks like that is not realistic. Because I used to think like that, right? When I was really young and idealistic, I was like, why do these girls always have these troubles with these assholes? I'm a nice guy. I know exactly what I want. I'll be ever loyal to you. Okay, that sounds great in theory. But how does that actually work out once you start to... The guys, for instance, who say, well, I'm going to love you forever and ever. Okay, get the girlfriend. Talk to me in a year. Talk to me after 3 months. After you've had sex with her. I mean, one way to know if you really like a girl is have sex with her. How do you feel about her after? PostNut Clarity. It's pretty fucking clear, right? You ever been just crazy about a girl, Go rub one out. Let me know how you feel after. It'll be even more clear after you've had sex with her. Or, what's going to happen is you like her and then you have sex with her. Now you're addicted to it. Well, now your healthy level of attraction is obsession because, oh my God, I can't get enough, right? Or you were obsessed with her, have sex with her, and now you're like, oh. And then you get to know her and you're like, oh, well, it's on Instagram, she was really hot and, all this, when she doesn't have makeup on and all those filters and, you know what? I don't know. That girl at Pizza Hut the other day was actually a bit hotter than this girl. But this girl was a 10 to me. Like, whoa, dude, I look back at girls I was in love with when I was 17. I'm like, oh my God, she's a 10. And I'm like, dude, she's like a 7 to me. And I look back and there was girls who were like, oh, maybe she's like a 7. And I look back and I'm like, no, she was like an 8.5 or a 9, right? Your standards change, your tastes change, what you want. Like, dude, it's a variable thing that is always shifting and merging and colliding and disintegrating. And what the fuck? It's very, very complicated what we want and to what degree and how we're actually going to go about it. Well, imagine taking this fucked upness that's happening in your heart and your mind and then trying to fucking communicate it to another person. What do you think is going to happen as a byproduct? Do you think that maybe there's going to be some miscommunication and some misunderstanding? And then you have a person on the other end who also has fucked up shit in here and fucked up shit in here. And then they're perceiving things based on previous biases and previous experiences and preconceptions about who you are and what she expects from you, expectations. Like, bro. Of course there's going to be mind games because it's not always malicious. It's people being aware that, fuck, you know, I really tend to get too excited. And in the past, my overexcitement has caused me to lose a person because everything was fine. And then I started showing a lot of interest. I texted her at like 8:30 when I woke up. I told her good morning, sunshine. And then, well, she disappeared. Okay, well, maybe I was showing too much interest, blah, 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 blah. So she or he goes into their next dating scenario, you know, round 2 or round 75, and they're like, okay, well, I've made that mistake in the past, let me try this. So even though they feel a certain way about you, they're going to kind of restrain themselves. And then the other person might be super into them. He might be only on round 17 and he hasn't yet learned that, you know, you kind of got to be careful how much interest you show to a person. And then they're going to be a little bit confused when they show too much interest, right? And then what's funny is the person who kind of got burned is going to see this person showing all this interest and they're going to go, oh, that's what this looked like? Oh, I can kind of see why maybe they lost interest in me. It does come off a bit weird, right? But then a third person from the outside is saying, oh, you're playing games. You know, you just need to be open and honest and you're just traumatized. And that's why you are pushing away healthy love and you have avoidant, anxious attachment style, blah, 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 right? Are these things true? Do people have baggage? Do people have drama? Do they have certain attachment styles and they need to like heal through it and blah, blah, blah? Yeah, sure. But also some people just learn lessons like throwing yourselves after someone and just like telling them what you want on a contract and devoting yourself eternally to them and you've only just met them. It's naive and stupid because you haven't even yet test driven the car, right? And even once you buy it, you need to drive it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You don't really know if a car is reliable until 5+ years, 10 years, okay? So how are we able to reach a point where you can meet a person that you don't know and have some perfect, transparent communication style, which is also impossible, right? Because even if you perfectly understand how you feel and the other person does, not a lot of people are good speakers. If everyone was a good communicator, everyone could write a book, everyone and write a perfect book, right? That has clear, beautiful language that just, it reaches the other person. You can write clearly. That's what textbooks are, right? But are textbooks entertaining to read? No, that's why you read fiction and fantasy, because the goal of a textbook is to give information clearly and comprehensively. The goal of a fiction book, a sci-fi, fantasy, romance, whatever, is to make you feel something and experience something. Well, experiencing something is involving more than just thoughts. It's also involving feelings and sights and sounds and touches and tastes and smells. It's a 6-dimensional experience. Well, in order to do that beautifully, you have to have the skill of communication. So do you see how there's these variables that are impossible? Perfect communication, perfect self-understanding, and the other person also has perfect communication and perfect self-understanding. Possible. You cannot combine all of these aspects in perfection. Even one of them is impossible to perfect. So if you can understand what I have just said, if I have communicated it well enough, and maybe I have and maybe I haven't, okay? Because maybe I didn't say it in the right way, or maybe you're misinterpreting it, or maybe you already clicked off the fucking video because I annoyed you. Maybe I have a big ugly nose, or I have a shitty voice, or I'm wearing a shirt, you know, and you don't like it, and you thought I should have been wearing a different color. Whatever. There was something that is going to be lost in translation, but if there wasn't, and you have understood the lesson that I'm trying to give, then you can let go of the expectation that there are going to be no games, no misunderstandings. And from that, you will drop a lot of anxiety, a lot of whining and fucking bitching, and you can put all of your time and all of your energetic resources into learning how dating works. Once you start that, you stop making excuses and hoping for some idealistic world and go, okay, women don't like men in general who do this, who do that, who do this. They do like men who do this, who do that, who do this in different contexts. Women like men who show interest, have the balls to walk up and say, hey, I think you're very beautiful, right? But they, at the same time, because there's nuance and context, don't want a man who's going to give away the house when he just met her, because that's too extreme. Hey, you're really beautiful. Oh, well, she's heard that before. No, well, she hasn't heard it from you. Maybe you're the right guy. Maybe you have the certain look and the certain vibe that she likes. And hearing it from you is good because now she knows you fucking like her because you fucking said it very clearly. Oh, okay. So here, clear communication is very useful. But once she's like, oh, nice to meet you. Da-da-da. I'm Sarah. Oh, I'm Hector. Nice to meet you. Da-da-da-da. And you start getting to know each other. Hey, let's grab a coffee. Yeah, sure. You go out for coffee. You start talking, right? You have a nice first day and then you're texting and it's going well. And then you have a nice second day and then you get together, or, you know, you start dating or you sleep together, whatever. Well, as time goes on, then you also know, because you've learned, because you're not hoping that there's just one solution. You just press button. Oh, I just need to say what I want. Well, you wake up, you've been seeing her for a couple weeks and you wake up on a random Thursday morning and you're like, okay, I want to have kids with her. Hey, I was thinking I want to bust a nut deep in your pussy and I want you to pop out like maybe 3 kids for me. How does that sound? Does that sound like a normal fucking thing to say to another human being? Usually not. Are there contexts where it does work? Sure. I am sure there is someone out there who has said that. A woman who has said, I want to sire your children. And the guy was like, fuck yeah, and busted a nut in her. Or a guy who's like, you're going to be the mother of my children, and just said it in such an assertive, dominant way. And she was like, damn, I like that shit. And he did it, and she bore his children. Are there times when that works? Sure. Is it a common occurrence? Fuck to the no. Okay? So you got to start learning social skills. And but it's all going to start from not whining and bitching and hoping for this ideal world that there's not going to be mind games. There's not going to be misunderstandings. You know, someone isn't going to come into your dating life with, you know, some baggage, and they're going to, you know, be a little bit overly emotional, right? And show too much interest, or under express their interest, and they're going to kind of hide it and play hard to get. And you're going to think, oh, she's playing a game with me and da-da-da. You might just think, okay, well, she's not showing a lot of interest. I really like her. But let's just keep taking steps towards us getting together again. She kind of doesn't show a lot of interest over text, but she always will meet with me, right? Okay, well, why does it matter if she's not sending me a good morning text with a bunch of smiley faces, right? Does it mean she doesn't like me? Well, she just came over my house like 3 days ago and sucked my dick and was kissing me and loving me. Okay, maybe she's just not emotional over text. That can be one conclusion. But sometimes in our mind, we're going to go, oh, she's playing games. There is a game, and you're never going to get away from it, for the reasons that I explained. So accept it, then start learning the game. But I will tell you this, you absolutely must never, under any circumstances, if you can avoid it, deceive the other person. That means don't make promises you can't keep, right? So I know some guys who could get laid because, and girls would tell me about this, like, oh, this guy gets laid. I'm like, well, how does he do it? And basically what I heard is, you know, he gets to know a girl really well, talks to her for like weeks and months and really gets her to like him, sleeps with her, and then kind of like pulls back his interest. Okay, that's shitty, right? Because he was really laying it on thick implicitly, right? He could say, oh, well, you know, I wasn't, you know, I didn't tell her I wanted a relationship. It's like, okay, yes, but if you were spending, you know, days and days with her. I mean, you hung out with this girl 2-3 times a day for weeks or months, and then she finally gave it up, and then you pulled back. Clearly, you were putting on a show to get pussy. That would be deception, even if you didn't do it outright. However, let's take another scenario. You're talking to a girl, you see her, and then, you know, you have a second date and it goes well, but then she has to go away for like a month on something or whatever. Or you have to go away, or you kind of lose touch, you know, work gets in the way, or maybe one of you is seeing someone else. Months later, you guys reconnect and then you end up sleeping together, right? But then one of you gets in your head that like, okay, well, you know, there's something serious here. Well, did anyone say anything explicitly about getting serious? Was there anything heavily implied. Well, no, you had 2 dates, so you slept together on the 3rd date. There was a long period in between, so you could say, oh, we were talking for a long time because you were texting intermittently throughout. There really wasn't anything super serious there, right? Because the context clearly did not indicate the other person was giving the signals of wanting something really serious, okay? Or, on the other hand, you sleep together on the 1st date, barely talked, there wasn't really that deep of a connection, and the person made it very clear that they just want something casual. Well, for one of the parties, man or woman, to get upset with the other person because it was a one-night stand, I don't know, man, it seemed pretty clear that that was the case. Now, even deeper, let's look at more context, right? So we're gonna get into all the fucking cloudiness and dirtiness and griminess that comes with dating. Can you have sex on the 1st date and turn it into something serious? Of course you can. Of course. You have a nice deep conversation. You also have just this, you guys both just feel each other, right? There's just that sexual chemistry. Okay, and then you sleep together. And then one of you is like, I really want to see you again. Yeah, I want to see you again too. Okay, cool. Let's keep it going. And then you clearly communicate to each other that you want to get together, and you end up getting together and getting serious, even though you did something that maybe indicates a casual thing because of the context and the communication. But it's very important that you do not deceive the other person, either directly, like explicitly, sorry, that's the word I was looking for, or implicitly. Because you can say, oh, well, I didn't say it. It's like, yeah, well, your actions were abundantly clear in one direction. Okay, so make sure you're not deceiving anyone explicitly. That's the most important part. And the second part, it's a little bit more forgivable if, like, you're forgivable if, you know, maybe your actions, you're spending a lot of time with her and you're like, okay, I'm really investing pretty hard here. Maybe I'm giving the wrong impression, right? You don't need to just say, hey, just to let you know, I know I'm spending a lot of time with you, but I don't want anything serious. No, that's kind of a silly thing to say, right? Unless there's a situation where that arises, right? Let's say, you know, you're really going on a lot of dates, she won't go home with you, and then finally, well, the fact that you're even trying to get her home with you, what did that imply? Well, you want to have sex with her, so that's clearly a very important part to you. But let's say she finally goes home with you, and then just as you're about to have sex, she's like, I don't know, like, I'm looking for something really serious. Well, you have a choice. You either need to say, hey, you know, that's not really what I'm looking for, or yes, it is what I'm looking for, or something in the middle, which can be also how you feel, right? Someone can feel in the middle, be like, look, I really want to have sex. That's very clearly what I want. I am open to something serious with you, but I need to know more about it. So what you're saying is, look, we can have sex, and then conditionally, as things goes on, I'm very interested in maybe something, at least seeing you continuously, maybe not a one-night stand, but I'm not really looking for that to be like, you know, I'm not going to promise marriage. And you can say that very clearly. Why? Well, because the situation arose for you to be so super articulate and really, like, explanatory, like it's a fucking warranty, right? That's the time for that legalistic type of talk, right? But you're not going to just randomly, like I said, wake up one morning and go, I should really make my intentions clear. Hey, and write some fucking huge book on what you want from her. No, right? Even though you have good intentions and you don't want to play these games, there is a game, okay? But you can play the game without deceiving, either explicitly or implicitly. If you got that covered, playing the games is fine. It's fine. You have to play. You can't not play the game. There's 1 in a million scenarios where a couple doesn't play the game, and hey, they just, you know, maybe they knew each other in a past life, and so they met each other and they were like, yep, hey, I feel really great about you. I feel great about you. And it's because in a past life they were married like 500 fucking times in a row. Like, it just works in that scenario, right? But in most situations, you're gonna have to play a bit of a game. So learn to play the game, but play the game without being duplicitous. God, that's such a sexy word. Yes. So don't deceive people. Don't fuck with people. Be careful with your intentions and what intentions you're communicating. But inevitably, the other person is probably gonna at some point misperceive things, okay? And you need to handle things as they come. But you gotta play the game because it is a game. That's why it's called game. That guy has game. Yeah, because he's good at communicating. He's good at conversating. He's good at connecting with women, bonding with women, and making their pussy wet and then fucking it. Okay? And as long as he does it without lying or deceiving, or, you know, if she, you know, doesn't have a boyfriend or a husband or a fiance or anything like that, then it's cool. They both wanted it. It happened. And he played the game well, and so did she. Women are playing the game too. Don't, you know, a lot of times we act like, oh, it's these men, you know, doing Jedi mind tricks on women. Nah, that's stupid. women are playing the game too. Okay? So learn how to play the game. And you can learn how to play the game by following this channel, liking this video. Probably don't share it with friends. But you can like it and subscribe. And you can ring the bell so you get notifications when I upload other videos. And keep watching my shit so you can learn how to play the game. Cool. Hector Castillo. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Ciao.